Hello and welcome to GrindslimeTV with me, your host Aaron. And today, we've got an absolute cracker for you. An absolute cracker. And also something I was going to talk about afterwards too. Nothing exciting or anything like that. Just an observation I've made concerning yesterday's Emperor video. Which is quite interesting. I think you'll find. But before we get to that, let's head on over to Portland, Oregon. I think it's Portland. I could be wrong. There's more places in Oregon than just Portland, isn't there? So, Oregon nonetheless, in the US, we are talking, of course, about the dirty little shit-stained death grinders that are Nekro Drunkz and their album Terminal Perversion. Oh yes, try not to hold the artwork too close to the screen because YouTube's run by a bunch of bitches. But, woo-wee, cracking little album this, I tell you. I got this when it came out through, would have been Grindfather Productions, as most of my grind releases tend to come through there, these days anyway. Ever since I discovered them, yeah, literally post-COVID. I think it was maybe late 2018, I came across Grindfather, and I've been buying from there ever since. Fantastic label. But enough about that. Let's have a look here. You can be looking at this bad boy. Here's some of the other bits you can expect to see. It's a big old triple X there. You've got 15 tracks in the space of 20 minutes, which is always nice. And it's got Seth and Dylan there from Hemorrhoid, and Dylan being the cool cat who runs Headsplit Records, another fantastic record label. I have several of their releases. This one among them, I'm sure. It makes sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Of course, it would. Absolutely. Now, you don't get all the lyrics, but you get some. So we've got a bit of a few of the songs there. Look, just 5 of them. Get the lyrics. They're the special ones. I mean, maybe the CD versions and whatnot, maybe they get more lyrics, but these ones just get the 5. But that's fine. I don't mind. We've got a bit of Toilet Zombie going on there. And what's important is that you do get the lyrics for the song called Fecal Upheaval of Satanic Might, which gives me a chuckle every time. See? I just chuckled again. Now, you can tell that these boys obviously have a huge, wide taste of the extreme metal and whatnot. You know, my ears doing my head in today. But, you know, they know their stuff, but there is a lot of the older sort of war metal kind of things going on here. Now, this is a deathy, thrashy kind of album, sort of more end of grind. The punky stuff's still in there. It's not crossover by any means, but you know, it's cool. I really like it. Heavy, lot of speed, some good mid-pace parts, cool slow parts. You know, they're not boring slow parts, and they utilize them as and when they can. But there's also riffs in there that are very sort of reminiscent of like some of the Ross Bay cult, like in the one song on here in particular. I cannot remember which one it is. It might even be Fecal Upheaval, but there's a riff that sounds very, very similar to a Revenge riff from their Scum Eradication Collapse album, which is probably my favourite Revenge album. Yeah, the closing riff from that. So very cool stuff. Utilised very well. They definitely wear their influences on their sleeves, which is always a good thing. I think that's always great. Cool cassette design there, the brown with the nice kind of, it's like a shit brown as well, because, you know, why not? You've got like the sort of kind of, what is that? Is there like a doggy giraffe shit demon or something? I don't know. Like Loch Nessie monster, but with like bits. Yeah. And it's not a program repeats on both sides, which makes sense because this is a 20-minute album, so you know they tend to split those bad boys up. It's a bit easier, and it's cheaper too, I believe, because you're using up less tape. But you know, I don't know all these things. Dylan probably does because when he pays for them. Yeah, got the old. There's a side there. Oh, there's Nekro Drunkz Terminal Perversion. Fantastic. As you can imagine, the lyrics, lyrical themes are pretty much based around, you know, bathing in vomit, being sprayed in shit, swelling up with cum until your eyes explode, that kind of thing. You know, so really cool there. And yeah, if you like a good range of like extreme metal, be it from your grindcore stuff all through to your sort of death metal, you know, and like I said earlier, like a bit of thrash and everything. So it sort of touches on a little bit of everything without getting too, say, pansified, like in a melodic way, you know, like how black metal can sometimes, which will get me onto my next point soon, about whole Emperor, you know, but doesn't do anything like that. This is straight up just heavy, aggressive, furious, but, you know, tongue-in-cheek as well. So really, really good fun. I think, like, if you're into any of that stuff and maybe a bit of crust punk and things like that, and like your hardcore and stuff, I think you could appreciate it. But if you've got a wide range of like taste like I have, then you know, definitely one to spin. It's up on YouTube. I believe it was on Spotify at some point. Whether it still is or not, I'm not sure. I didn't look, to be honest with you. Probably should have done. But it's definitely on YouTube. I know that much because I listened to it out in the garden while I was having a smoky on the YouTubes. So yeah, definitely worth your time. Remember, it's Nekro Drunkz with a Z, 2 words, and yeah, out on Headsplit Records. This was from 2019. Absolute banger. So definitely get on that. Now, my point about Emperor. It's funny. A lot of people in the comments were saying that they're not really big fans of Emperor, etc. You know, that sort of thing. Absolutely fine. As I said in the video, I totally get why people don't, you know, get into that stuff, or even the Norwegian scene as a whole. You know, I get it. It's not for everyone. We've all got a bit of variety. But what's interesting is the night before I did that video, when I was actually listening to that album, I was in bed reading, and as I was listening to it, I suddenly stopped and thought, can you really call this metal? Like, and in some places, undeniably, it's metal. Of course it is. But a lot of it on that album, as I was listening, I thought, this is more like extreme classical. And without taking the piss either. And it's awesome. I love it. I think it's fantastic. But there were definitely parts, and long, extended parts too, like huge chunks of songs where I was like, this. If I was to describe metal to someone, I wouldn't use anything I'm hearing here at this particular point of the album. And there's a lot of points like that on the album. So very interesting album, very interesting band. I love them, of course, as you know. But no, but I just thought it was very interesting when people were saying, like, oh, you know, like Whimperer and stuff like that, which is always funny when I hear people say that. And like Gayhem, that sort of stuff. But, you know, just I just found it very interesting. People saying, like, oh, the Norwegian scene as a whole, they're not very big fans of. And I was just like, yeah, see, I was sort of thinking the same sort of thing in my brain. Like, I can totally see why a lot of metalheads would be like, oh, this band ain't for me, man. It's like, yeah, there is a lot of the aggression missing there. Now, Anthems to the Welcome at Dusk, however, I listened to that and I think, yeah, this is a belter. Obviously, it goes into its extreme classical moments. Remember, we coined that phrase here. If anyone steals it, extreme classical. You can blame me for one of the extra fucking subgenres you got these days. Like, no, it's fucking caveman hammer squidcore. Like, oh, is it? But you know, well, whatever. But yeah, so I just thought that was pretty interesting. Now, also, Mika, you asked for a like a list of like a top 10 of brutal death metal bands, and I thought I did think about doing that, but I also thought like there's a lot of channels where you can do that, and I probably will get to that one day. But I've wondered maybe I could go through my collection and try and find some like maybe more obscure brutal death metals, or maybe do like a 10 often overlooked brutal death metal records. What do you guys think about something like that? Maybe ones I haven't seen other people talk about or something. Because if you want to hear about Disgorge or Tuning the Mutilated or, you know, Molesting the Decapitated, you know, there's videos out there for it, for sure. So I thought, fuck it, let's have a look through and see if we can find somebody, some of the more overlooked gear. Tell me what you think. So that's it for today's video. Support the underground, support your local scene and whatnot, and start turning that heating on too, because Oof, it's getting cold up there, boys and girls. So I'll catch all you guys later. Have a good one.